Oh. In our timeline, hatred silenced the giants. Martin Luther King Jr. fell in Memphis in 1968. Malcolm X was cut down in New York in 1965. But what if fate turned differently? What if both men survived the bullets meant to end them? What if the sword and the shield, Malcolm's unyielding call for black dignity, and King's dream of beloved Kaminafini, joined as one unbreakable force? This is that story. A story of survival, reconciliation, and transformation. By late 1968, the paths converge. Malcolm X, having left the Nation of Islam and embraced a broader human rights vision after his pilgrimage to Mecca, reaches out. King, shifting toward economic justice and the Poor People's Campaign, sees the limits of nonviolence alone against entrenched poverty and northern racism. Dr. King, I've called integration a false dream before, but I've seen too many brothers die for scraps. You speak of love conquering hate. I speak of power protecting life. Together, we could demand both. Brother Malcolm, your voice has made mine heard in places that ignored it. The ballot without economic power is hollow. A dream without dignity is deferred forever. Let's not choose between sword and shield. Let us wield both. They agree. No full merger of organizations, but a strategic alliance. The United Black Front is born quietly coordinated campaigns, blending mass nonviolent action with community self-defense, economic cooperatives, and international advocacy. 1972-1975. The alliance electrifies the movement. In northern cities, King's nonviolent occupations of abandoned buildings force fair housing laws, welcomes teams train communities in self-defense and economic boycotts, reducing police violence through organized presence. Joint rallies draw massive crowds. Malka introduces speakers. King delivers the closer. Their combined rhetoric Malcolm's fire exposing systemic racism. King's moral vision calling for redemption proves unstoppable. We will no longer beg for rights that are ours by birth. We build our own institutions, control our own destiny. 2. No more waiting for white America's conscience to wake up. And yet, we march arm in arm not in hatred, but in unbreakable solidarity. We demand jobs, education, healthcare not as charity, but as justice. We will not hate our oppressors. We will overcome them with the force of organized love and organized power. Freedom. Power. Justice. Now, the results come fast. The Economic Justice Act of 1974 per se expanded job training, community development banks, and reparative investments in black neighborhoods. Voter turnout in black communities surges 40% by 1976. Police accountability boards become standard in major cities. By the mid-1970s, their vision goes global. They link American racism to colonialism abroad. Joint tours to Africa and the Caribbean inspire Pan-African economic cooperatives. They pressure the U.S. to divest from apartheid South Africa earlier, helping accelerate its fall. But challenges remain. FBI surveillance intensifies. Internal debates, floursome in King's circle, fear Malcolm's militancy, alienates allies. Some in Malcolm's worry, King's moral appeals soften demands. We can't keep turning the other cheek when they're shooting children in the back. And we can't descend into the cycle of violence they want. Our power is in our unity, not our rage. Then let rage fuel the organization. And love guide the message. They compromise non-violence in public actions, community self-reliance, and defense in private organizing. The alliance holds. Splot into the 1980s and beyond. The United Black Front reshapes America. Black poverty rates drop dramatically through targeted investments. Education and health disparities narrow as community-controlled schools and clinics flourish. The movement inspires broader coalitions Latino native, poor, white fighting systemic inequality. In this timeline, no single King holiday martyr dominates memory. Hids. Two living legends stand as models. The power of moral persuasion and the necessity of self-determination working hand in hand. We once walked separate paths. Today, we walk as brothers. The dream is not yet fulfilled, but it is alive. By any means necessary, we secured the means to live with dignity. And we did it together. The struggle continues. In a world where Martin and Malcolm survived and joined forces. The Black community didn't just gain rights, they built power. The lesson endures. Division weakens. Unity transforms. What could we achieve today if we remembered their example? 2. Imagine a world where the voices of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X were not silenced in the 1960s. After their historic meeting, they formed the United in Purpose Alliance, a force that would reshape America for decades to come. Their combined power, blending King's nonviolent resistance with Malcolm's fierce call for self-determination, created a movement unlike any other. Throughout the late 80s and 90s, their alliance became the conscience of the nation. They didn't just lead marches, they built institutions. Together, they launched nationwide economic empowerment programs, creating community-owned banks and businesses in underserved neighborhoods. They tackled systemic issues, head-on, from housing discrimination to inequities in the justice system. When the LA riots erupted in 1992, it wasn't just politicians on the scene. It was King and Malcolm, walking the streets together, calming tensions, not with empty promises, but with real plans for community rebuilding and police reform. Their joint press conferences were legendary. King's powerful, measured oratory complemented by Malcolm's sharp, incisive analysis. They forced the country to have uncomfortable conversations, and more importantly, to act. Their influence wasn't just political, it was cultural. They established leadership academies, mentoring a new generation of activists. These young leaders weren't just followers, they were innovators, trained in both grassroots organizing and global politics. They learned strategy from Malcolm and soul force from King. This new wave of leaders diversified the movement, bringing in voices from the LGBTQ community, environmental justice advocates, and tech innovators who used the dawn of the internet to organize on a global scale. The United in Purpose Alliance became a blueprint for intersectional activism, showing how different struggles for justice were all interconnected. Entering the 21st century as elder statesmen, their roles evolved. They were no longer just on the front lines, but were the revered architects of a more just society. In a famous joint interview in 2010, a silver-haired Dr. King, his voice still ringing with passion, reflected on their journey. He spoke of the long arc of the moral universe, acknowledging the progress made, but emphasizing the miles yet to go. Malcolm, his fire tempered by wisdom, spoke of the importance of self-respect and economic independence as the bedrock of true freedom. He looked at the young leaders they had inspired and said, "They are our legacy." The struggle is now in their hands, and they are stronger and smarter than we ever were. Their alliance proved that unity, even between those with different methods, could create a power greater than the sum of its parts. They taught us that the fight for justice requires both a moral compass and a strategic mind, both love and righteous anger. Their story, in this imagined history, is a testament to the incredible potential that lies in coming together for a common cause. A dream realized not by one man, but by two, standing side by side. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share and subscribe for more explorations of what could have been.